Welcome back to the Rough and Ready Rancher. Today we're going to teach you how to make homemade sausage. Now, I use my handy duty mixer, but you can just do it with your hands and with some gloves on and just mix all the ingredients together. To begin with, you need approximately 4 different ingredients. Pork sausage. You can start with 1 pound of pork sausage and mix a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of sage, and 1/4 of a teaspoon of pepper. And I never put pepper in though, but that's an option you can have. You'll need to have some parchment paper if you don't already have some. Some people use wax paper, but wax paper doesn't do as great in the freezer. But the parchment paper works just great. So inside your mixer or in your bowl, you're going to place your sausage. You can double it. I usually double, triple, and then freeze it all in Ziploc freezer bags in my freezer.
Making homemade sausage, girls.
Once you've mixed it all up, then you can start forming it into balls. And I don't have any right now in here because I've already made it up, but you just form it into balls and then flatten them. And then you're going to take your parchment paper and cut it into little squares about the size that your patty is going to be fitting on. And I don't make my patties very thick, but that's up to you how you want to do them. And then I put here's some that I've already frozen that I've taken out, and I put a parchment paper on top and one in the middle of each patty and then another one on the bottom. And then that way they're not sticking to inside your bag or each other. So you form it into balls and flatten them, put a parchment paper down and put your patty on top of it and layer it with parchment paper all the way up. And here's a bag of ones that I've already done, as you can see. Now, one thing I was finding when I would freeze these in a freezer bag, they would still form crystals, ice crystals in between them all. And so what I started doing is I would put them in a separate baggie, however many I was going to need, in a separate one, and then put it into the big bag. And I'd always try and squeeze out all the air as much as I could and then freeze them. And the sausage that I would get was not sausage because that's already seasoned. You're going to want ground pork. So excuse me for giving you the wrong information in the beginning. You want ground pork, and then you mix the other ingredients with it. So 1 pound of ground pork, a teaspoon of sage, ground sage, and a teaspoon of salt, and a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper if you want pepper in it. Now, something I've done in the past that just adds a little variety to it is I'll chop up some green onions and mix in with it. But my favorite is when I chop up some leeks. Just chop them up really fine and mix it in with your meat. My mixer works really great for that. This is my bread mixer, but I just throw it all in there and just turn it on. It mixes it all up for me, and then all I have to do is form it into patties. So, go at it. There you go.
The corn leading down to the river. Her hair shone like gold in the hot morning sun. She took all the love that a poor boy could give her and left me to die like a fox on